Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
My twin brother called me crying from inside a closet. Not metaphorically. Literally hiding inside a closet like a terrified child. When I answered the video call, the screen was almost completely dark. At first, I thought the camera was broken. Then the phone shifted slightly, and a thin beam of light crossed his face. That's when I saw the bruises. One eye swollen shut, his lips split and crusted with dried blood. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. "Duke," he whispered. The sound of his voice was weak, like someone who hadn't slept in days. Behind him I heard laughter, plates clinking, someone enjoying dinner. "I can't do this anymore," he said. My stomach turned cold. "Dustin, where are you?" I asked. "In the closet," he whispered. "Glenda said I should stay in here tonight so I don't embarrass her in front of guests." My hand tightened around the phone. Through the door, I heard a man's voice laughing loudly. "Blake." Then, another voice complaining. "Ebony." And finally Glenda's voice, sharp and cruel. "Tell him to stay down there. He smells like a mechanic shop." My brother lowered his head. "They're eating steak," he said quietly. "I haven't eaten since yesterday morning." Something dark started rising inside my chest. Then Dustin said something that froze my blood. "I found some pills in the bathroom." My voice went sharp. "What pills?" "Sleeping pills," he whispered. "I think I'm just going to take them and go to sleep." The chair behind me hit the floor when I stood up. "No." The word came out like a command. I had spent 40 years working as a military contractor in places where panic gets people killed. My voice carried the same tone I used when everything was falling apart, and people needed direction. "You listen to me very carefully." He looked up. "Walk out the back door. Right now." "I can't," he said weakly. "Glenda will—" "Dustin," I interrupted. "Do you remember the truck stop off Highway 85? His good eye blinked. The one where Dad used to buy us peach cobbler." He nodded slowly. "Go there," I said. "Sit down. Wait for me." "How long?" he asked. 11 hours. And then I hung up. My name is Duke Robinson. I'm 68 years old. For 40 years I built roads, airstrips, and bridges in war zones most Americans have never heard of. Afghanistan, South Sudan, places where survival depends on reading people quickly. The work made me wealthy. But more importantly, it made me dangerous to anyone who mistakes kindness for weakness. After I retired, I settled in Chicago near Lake Michigan. Quiet mornings, fishing, silence. Dustin stayed in Atlanta. We look exactly the same. Same face, same gray beard. But Dustin always had the softer heart. He was a mechanic who fixed cars for strangers who couldn't afford repairs. The type of man who believed people were fundamentally good. Unfortunately, some people see kindness as an opportunity. I drove through the night. No stops, no radio. Just the sound of tires on asphalt and the steady growth of anger inside my chest. When I reached the truck stop at 3 in the morning, I spotted him immediately. He was sitting on the curb near the diesel pumps, thin, shivering. His clothes looked like they hadn't been washed in weeks. For a moment I didn't recognize my own brother. When my SUV pulled up, he flinched like he expected someone to hit him. That nearly broke me. I stepped out and grabbed him. "It's okay," I said quietly. "You're safe." He collapsed into my arms and cried. Inside the car, I gave him a sandwich and coffee. He devoured the food like a starving man. Then he told me everything. How Glenda had taken control of his pension for budgeting. How Ebony and her husband Blake moved in temporarily. How Blake began controlling the house. How they put a lock on the refrigerator. How they told neighbors Dustin had dementia. How their lawyer prepared documents to declare him mentally incompetent so they could sell the house and take his money. It wasn't just abuse. It was a carefully planned takeover. When he finished, I handed him a set of clothes from my bag. Then I gave him my car keys. "You're going to the Ritz-Carlton in Buckhead," I said. He stared at me. I booked a suite. Eat room service. Sleep. And you? He asked. I looked in the mirror. Then I shaved off my beard, messed up my hair, put on his grease-stained flannel shirt and taped shoes. I'm going to your house. His face went pale. They'll hurt you. I smiled. They think they're dealing with Dustin. My voice hardened. They're about to meet the brother they never should have crossed. At sunrise, I walked into Dustin's house. The kitchen smelled of wine and takeout. Glenda appeared wearing a silk robe. She didn't ask where I'd been. Instead, she threw a dirty rag at my chest. Clean the floor, she snapped. I lowered my head like Dustin would. Yes, Glenda. For 2 days I played the role. Silent, obedient, invisible. Meanwhile, a tiny camera clipped inside my shirt recorded everything. Every insult, every threat. Every time they called my brother worthless. Every time Blake shoved me. Every time they joked about selling the house. Once Dustin was officially declared crazy. By the 3rd day, I had enough evidence to bury them in court. But first, I wanted them to understand something. That evening, Blake shoved me in the hallway. Move faster, old man, he sneered. His hand grabbed my collar. That was the moment I had been waiting for. Before he realized what happened, I twisted his wrist and slammed him against the wall. Hard. The hallway went silent. Blake stared at me in shock. Glenda rushed out of the kitchen. What the hell are you doing, Dustin? I looked at her calmly. Then I spoke. My name isn't Dustin. The room froze. Blake blinked. What? I stepped closer. I'm Duke Robinson. Glenda's face drained of color. The brother, I said quietly, you should have been afraid of. The next morning, the house filled with police officers, and lawyers, and investigators from Adult Protective Services. Turns out, starving an elderly man, stealing his pension, and forging legal documents is considered felony elder abuse and financial exploitation. The footage from my camera made everything crystal clear. Blake tried to run. They arrested him in the driveway. Glenda screamed until the neighbors came outside to watch. Ebony cried and blamed everyone else. But it was over. Within weeks, their accounts were frozen. Their lawyer withdrew from the case. Charges were filed. 3 months later, Dustin and I were sitting on a small fishing boat on Lake Michigan. The sun was setting over the water. He looked different now, healthier, stronger, like my twin again. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Then he said quietly, I still can't believe you did all that for me. I cast my fishing line into the water. You would have done the same. He smiled. And for the first time in 30 years, my brother laughed. The sound carried across the lake like freedom.